Hello and good morning to Send Out Cards Saturday training. I am Janine Bolin, and I've been with Send Out Cards for only 3 short years, maybe 2 short years. I actually lose track. I let my upline tell me how long I've been there, but 2 or 3 years is what I have been with Send Out Cards. But I have been a businesswoman since I was 10 years old when I first started selling earthworms at my little bait shop down in southern Missouri. Yes, I was one of those kids. So that was kind of where I started off. And I wanted to let you know why I have such a passion for the 4-hour-a-week system. Now, I remember I heard this somewhere or something, and I wish I could give credit to the person that actually got me rolling with this, but I cannot remember what the gentleman's name was that I first learned it from. So I wish I could give him credit. But the biggest thing with Send Out Cards is download the app. Make sure you have the app on your phone, on your desktop, on your tablet, on your laptop, whatever electronic device that you sit at any point in your day. I've even seen where my television will let me download certain apps. I don't recommend that for Send Out Cards, but I'm just saying, put the app on all your electronic devices. Start off with that first. And then what I'm going to talk to you about today, and I want to share with you the stuff that I've learned. And then if you have a system that works that's different from what I do, please share it with me so that we can build that into the training. Work on your business, not in your business. Now, I have heard this since I was probably 17, and I don't know exactly where I heard that, but I was on my 3rd business by that time. And as I was working in that business, when I heard working on your business, it didn't click with me. What are you talking about is kind of what I was asking them. And the magic of the 4 hours a week business is the 4 hours where you prospect, follow up, close, and train yourself or train your team. Those are the 4 hours that you are working on your business, not in your business. And so it's basically the sales and marketing component, but for Send Out Cards, it's different. And that's why I wanted to change this around from a businesswoman's perspective. When we hit with Send Out Cards, we're doing something very, very different because I want to stay in line with what Cody originally designed for this, which was to send that heartfelt card when you're thinking of someone. And that is the crux. That's what we will always go to when it comes to the Send Out Card. So this week's particular class is on follow-up. And what I have heard since I was 18, when I was on my 4th business, was that fortune is in the follow-up. You hear that over and over. So let's talk to you just real quick about some of the people that were influencing me. I am a highly trained individual. I'm an analytical biochemist. I worked in the pharmaceutical industry for about 15 years. And while I was working, I always had a side hack. I was one of those people that I got bored if I was only one thing. And so I always enjoyed making money by doing what I loved. And so I did the analytical biochemistry by day, and by night, I always had an MLM of some kind that I was working on. I always had 2 jobs going. And so the first job I ever had was from this beautiful lady. She was my very first introduction to multi-level marketing, which is Mary Kay Ash. And I studied everything I could from her. Why? Because she helped my mom. It was a Mary Kay Ash wig that allowed my mother to go out in public in the 1970s and the 1980s because she was a cancer survivor. And so that's how I first came to Mary Kay Ash. So most people don't know that she actually had wigs and makeup. And when we were fighting breast cancer, because it was really going rampant at that time, it still is, but it was just becoming aware, she was trying to help women recover some of their dignity because a lot of divorces happen with that. And so I owe a lot to Mary Kay on that front. She was able to help my mom have the confidence to go out into public because it was before Sinead O'Connor shaved her head, right? That was when it was okay to run around with a shaved head. So just giving you a little history. Well, as I worked in the pharmaceutical industry, I realized I had an aptitude for electronics and robotics. Mitsubishi was just coming out with arms. The AIDS crisis had happened. I was running anywhere from 2,500 to 5,000 samples a week. And so I was doing that in my day job. My part-time job, I was listening to this guy Brian Tracy, who was, if you remember, the $1 million salesman, right? I mean, these are people we've heard about for a long time. They're still in the biz, still trying to help people. Brian Tracy's actually now working with people to help you invest your money. So it's fun to watch these people as we grow with them, right? Anyhow, so Brian Tracy was the other guy that I was listening to, and that's where he was teaching me how to be a salesman without coming off salesy. And my Mary Kay Ash business went through the roof. I actually, when I started implementing his principles, that's when things got wild. So we're going to fast forward 25 years, because that's about how long it takes to drop out of the workforce, raise your family as a stay-at-home mom, figure out you're too bored just doing that, and run a few extra business on the side before you then become an author of 8 books on finances and how to work with only one income, blah, blah, blah. This is my day job now, but I ran into this neat guy called Link Selling with Josh Turner. And I was trying to get better at my business, because things changed in the 25 years. It really wasn't so much handshaking. There's a lot of digital selling, and I was very ignorant. So I started taking Josh Turner's system, which, by the way, will not work for send out cards, not in the way Josh teaches it. So what I'm going to do is take the best elements of what Josh teaches and help you guys do the digital component while not losing the vision that Cody has for send out cards. This is very important. When we start operating as business owners, we have to make sure that we're not using the mindsets of business owners. We're using the mindset of what Cody had for send out cards. We have to stay in that. And now you've heard, it's all the rage now. It's the new word, relationship marketing. That's the new code word. And forgive me, Mary Kay Ash knew that back when 1970s, when she wrote her book about people management. Right. And there were probably people before her, but that's when I came to the world. So, you know, that's when it started to exist. Right. Said every young person ever. And just for fun, just to let you know, in the book Connect, Josh highlighted my business because of the success that I had with the system. So we're going to talk about some of the Josh Turner's system, and then we're going to talk about how you do follow up in the send out card world. Okay. So realize that, as most people say, it takes 12 points of contacts to make a customer. I have found that to be a fallacy if you are using send out cards. So realize this is if you're trying to sell somebody something that costs over $1,000. Okay. If you're trying to sell something over $1,000, this is the format. You're not trying to sell anybody anything. You just want their bloody address, is what is what I say to people. I just want your address. I'm not trying to sell you. So anyhow, with your first point of contact, when you first start talking to people, and you are an affiliate and you're saying you want to bring on an affiliate to your team, when you say, hey, are you interested? Can I show you a little bit about the send out card system? And then somebody says, sure, but not right now. I've got to go, blah, blah, blah. You're like, no problem. When can we set up the next call? And they say, call me back, blah, blah, blah. When you say, okay, I'll call you back, or as has happened frequently with me, somebody will have something traumatic that has happened to them, an illness, a death, or something like that. And they go, I can't even think right now. I'm going to have to come back to you later. Right. And I say, okay, that's great. No problem. And I follow up with them later because I have a follow-up system that I use. I'm already above 50% of salespeople in the world at that point. I have followed up when I said I was going to follow up. So already just one point of contact, you're following up. Okay, we all know this. So let's move on quickly. By the time you have sent 4 cards to this individual, you are already in the top 11% of salespeople. And this is why send out cards actually works better than the sales marketing that I've learned, because you have the ability to contact people in a highly non-invasive way. And the other wonderful thing I want to share with you, 100% open rate. People will always open my cards. There have been situations where I've had a client who received, unfortunately had to go through a divorce, and they made sure I knew so that I could send them positive messages because they knew I would do that for them. So anyway, that's the power of send out cards. Let's hit it. By the time you have sent your 8th card, you are probably the only sales or business person in that individual's life that has contacted them 8 times. So that is something that is incredibly, incredibly powerful. According to the bigger, like if you're selling $1,000 package or something like that, by the time you contact them 7 times, you're actually in a place where you're working with that. So anyhow, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about, that's the big business model. How do we operate in sales, send out cards, and with this 4 hours a week? So let's talk about follow-up. Follow-up for send out cards is the simple thing of asking for their address. So you're going to meet people after, COVID isn't going to last forever. We're actually going to get out again. So you are going to get out, you are going to meet people. You get their phone number, you get their email address, get whatever point of contact you can. And then you can say, I really enjoyed our conversation on Zoom, what have you. May I send you a card? The other thing that I've started doing is every time I'm on Zoom with somebody, I will hit the button that says speaker view, and I'll ask them to talk about themselves. And I've already arranged ahead of time to take a picture of them and send it on a card. Now, I know this is, for some of you that have been in send out cards a long time, this is great, but not all of us have the creativity that you amazing affiliates have. So if you have ideas like that, please share them, because not everybody is comfortable. Some people don't even know how to do a screenshot. I'm like, this is where Google is your friend. I wish I had Google 20 years ago. And YouTube, oh my gosh, you can find how to do almost anything on YouTube. So you establish it in your calendar, and then make sure you start getting the addresses of people you already know and shuffling them into your send out cards app. Just start that then. And every time you move an address, send a card. Move an address, send a card. Move an address, send a card. Set times for yourself. Plan how you want to spend your time. Prepare, clean off your space, or get in your favorite comfy chair with your phone, whatever is your happy place. Because why? This is not work. People make send out cards sound like work. I'm like, this is the highlight of my day, is when I get to sit down and send out cards. And that's why I do it first thing in the morning, is sending out cards. It's almost like some people have a gratitude journal. I have my send out cards. That's my gratitude journal, because every time I'm sending a card, I'm thinking, this is somebody I know. This is somebody I like. This is somebody I trust. I want to be in their world. I want to be in their situation. So follow up for send out card affiliates means ask for the address. Now, some of you really jump the gun and you're able to get the address right off the bat. I work in money, so I am more cautious. I move slower. I'm the turtle. Why? Because these people, I want them in my life until their family or friends are contacting me because they've died. All right. I want these people for life in my life. And that is why I have the long game. I play the long game. And I was raised in Japan. And so I'm used to dealing in 20 and 30-year allotments, not short-term. I didn't learn short-term systems until I moved to the United States. Okay. So this is what I call my random follow-up system. And this is where we're very lucky in this day and age. Facebook and LinkedIn will tell you when it's somebody's birthday. So if I don't have somebody's address, I don't stress. Especially since I'm just now really seriously getting into the send out card system. Why? I never expected to have a team, but that's a different story. But now that I'm really like showing people how you do this for send out cards, that the system works, I'm slowly getting people's addresses. That I have over 1,600 contacts that I do not have their address. Okay, I only have 300, almost 400 people addresses in the send out card system. So I'm showing you guys how I'm building over the course of time. So when you have somebody's birthday that pops up, what you do is you go and you can text them, hey, happy birthday, wanted to send you a card. It's sitting on my desktop, is what I say to people, so I'm not lying. It's sitting on my desktop. May I have your address? I have a 99.9% person that will respond back. I've done this over 200 times. I've only had one person that has just sent back thumbs up, and I'm like, oh, that's okay. All right. You don't want me to have your address. That's all right. Everybody has their place, right? So moving on, I focus on the 199 that said yes. So I get excited by that. So again, relax when you're doing this, have fun. So make sure you have the return address correct. This is a part of your follow-up. because you want this to happen. Every time I get a return address card, I'm like, ooh, you tried to escape. I know you've moved. And then it's another point of contact. Hey, so-and-so, because most of these people, if I have their address, I've connected to them either on Facebook or LinkedIn, okay? Some people focus more on Instagram and Twitter. It just depends on your business and what you're comfortable with. You'll hear me use Facebook and LinkedIn a lot because of my experiences, but whatever your messaging is, they have birthdays. My favorite thing is when I get birthdays of the same person and they're 4 different types because they have never given their exact birthday on the for privacy reasons or whatever. And I'm getting like 4 and 5 contacts with these people, and I just say, hey, LinkedIn says it's your birthday. Now, this is something I do. Not everybody's comfortable with this. I'm a clown. I love goofing off. I'm a little bit of a fool. So I use the voice aspect of LinkedIn and Facebook cards, and I sing happy birthday to them. Am I great? Absolutely not. Do I make mistakes? All the time. And I don't care. I laugh as I'm singing and I'm just goofing off. Why? Because I love these people. I want them in my life. So that's the thing I love about Send Out Cards is the authenticity. You can bring your authenticity and you will build a pretty good system. Sorry, my slide deck is going nuts here. Just one moment. There we are. So each month I get this stack and I hold them up. I hold them up to the camera and I take a picture, and then I post this on Facebook and LinkedIn and go, hello, I sent everyone in my address book cards just to say happy July 4th or whatever the holiday was in my system send that I've done. These are all the cards I got back. If you want your card, you're going to have to give me your address. I get addresses from people who say, I've been depressed lately. Would you send me a card? I'm like, number one, kudos for the courage to ask me and tell me you're not doing well. Number two, are you kidding? You're on my weekly send list. And I do have that for people who have had somebody in their family pass, or I know that they're in depression or they're lonely. I have what I call a weekly send list that I spend an extra period of time sending them positive feedback. So that's something you can do in your calendar. This was a friend of mine who was talking to realtors. And so she asked my permission to take my screenshot, showed my list. She goes, this is what happens when you don't stay in contact with your friends. And then she goes, imagine all those houses that you lost a commission on. This is a very standard thing that Send Out Cards has been doing a long time. She had never heard of it before. So even though we have heard it and Send Out Cards a lot as affiliates, keep educating your affiliates because like they say in my Latin American friends, it's all about the rice and beans, people. It's all about the basics, right? Just keep talking about the basics. I recommend that you do system sends 12 times a year if you can. If you are not financially at a place where you can do that, then don't. But if you're a business owner and your business is flourishing, I recommend that you do system sends, put it in your budget and put it for your accountant and everybody, because they'll say, what is the Send Out Card thing? And I'll say, this is marketing. And I have a budget for a system send once a month to my entire address book. My friends, my family, everything goes in there because I want to stay in top of mind. And then I have made sure that on the back of my card is my business and whatever promotion or whatever link I want people to go on my website or what have you. So the back of the card is the marketing part, but the front is me being very, very authentic. And the back of the card just reminds people, oh, and if I can help you with your finances, here you go. So that was this week's training for Send Out Cards. I'm going to stop the recording and we will then initiate the Q&A.